Everyone heard the crash, but only I saw who stepped out of that truck. It was the third time in 6 weeks. The sound was sharp, metal on brick, a sickening pop followed by the long hiss of an airbag deflating in the morning air. I was standing on my porch in a black robe, coffee still warm in my hand. The sun had just cracked open over the ridge, light spilling across my ranch road. Dust floated in the air like it was deciding whether to rise or fall. And there he was again, Milton Craig, his pickup tilted at a cruel angle, the hood bent, steam curling out like an exhale of guilt, on his vest vinyl letters. HOA Police! Not a badge, not a department, just stickers slapped on fabric like a child's costume. The only real badge in that whole scene was my mailbox. And it still stood tall, straight, unshaken, its little red flag pointing skyward like a salute. Milton shoved his door open and spilled out, clutching his forearm with a scowl. His first words weren't apology. They weren't even surprise. They were accusation. "You booby-trapped county property, Bennett." His voice cracked like the hood of his truck, hot, small, and desperate. I walked slow to the fence line, my boots crunching gravel. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I tapped the inside of that mailbox lid. A sticker shined there, neat and official. County approved. Breakaway core, 4-inch round, built to code, permitted, documented. "You set a trap," Milton spat, kicking his tire. The tire didn't care, the road was straight, the sky was clear. And still, somehow, his wheel had bent into my post like a moth to a flame. "You should have built better," he hissed. I let the words hang. Then I answered, calm as stone, "You should have driven better." Just then gravel whispered and an old Ford rolled up slow. Red, my neighbor, leaned his elbow out the window. His grin was half amusement, half disbelief. "Mail call came early," he said, tipping his cap. "You gonna sign for that, Milton?" Milton didn't laugh. He adjusted his so-called vest like it gave him authority. But before he could spit another word, the sound of another door opening cut through the tension. "Lena." She stepped onto the porch in her scrubs, her ponytail tied back neat, eyes steady. In her hands, a fat folder, a thumb drive, and a clear plastic sleeve. Evidence. Chain of custody starting now. She didn't need a badge to carry authority. Her calm was sharper than any siren. 2 county cruisers rolled in, lights flashing faint in the morning sun. Real deputies this time, not vinyl letters, not play acting. They stepped out, scanning the scene. One glance at Lena with her tablet, and they already knew this wasn't just another mailbox hit. This was a record. She spoke like a nurse calling out doses in an emergency room, measured clinical. Collision log, timestamps, 3 prior incidents, same vehicle, same driver, verified. One deputy's eyebrows rose. She had cut through 4 questions before they could even ask one. Phones were up. 2 neighbors filmed from the shoulder, their lenses catching everything. The dented truck, the cosplay vest, the steady mailbox. The second deputy walked over and gave my post a shake. The core flexed, bent, and then snapped back. His pen scratched across the pad. "Breakaway, compliant." Milton tried one last swing. "He rammed an officer," he shouted, pointing at the fake vinyl word on his door. The deputy didn't even look up. "You with a department." Milton's lips twitched, his eyes flickered. "Homeowners," he muttered, "I help keep order." The first deputy's voice went flat. "Federal property was struck." The words landed heavy, the kind of heavy that sticks in your chest. I raised my coffee cup. Title 18, Section 1705. My mailbox wasn't just steel and brick, it was federal, a line you don't cross. A plain sedan rolled in next, quieter than the cruisers, but heavier somehow. The man who stepped out wore no vinyl. His badge was small, precise. Postal Inspection Service. Inspector Alvarez. He didn't waste words, he didn't posture. He knelt by the scrape on Milton's bumper, lifted his tablet, snapped the photos. One of the mailbox sticker. One of the dent. Then, without rushing, he watched my trail cam clip frame by frame until the license plate filled the screen. A scratch on the number 3, sharp as proof. By now, the crowd wasn't laughing. They were watching. Karen HOA president, marched down the lane with that smile of hers, the kind that looks sharp until you realize it's covering something brittle. "Entrapment," she barked. "He built a weapon, that brick is illegal." The deputy shook his head, tapped his notes, and pointed at the clean arc carved in the dirt where Milton had steered. Breakaway core, compliant, driver appears to have aimed for contact. Karen's smile faltered. Her eyes flicked to me, sharp as glass. We'll see you in court. I met her stare with something colder. Bring a ruler, I said. Numbers travel well. The tow truck came. Milton's dented pride was hooked and hauled away, leaving dust and silence behind. The only thing that stood unbent was my mailbox. But silence doesn't always mean peace. Sometimes it's the pause before a storm. Because that night, just before 2 a.m., my trail cam caught something no one was ready for. Milton's truck moved. And he wasn't the one behind the wheel. The crash was loud, but the quiet before it that was worse. Because somewhere in that silence, someone moved a piece they shouldn't have touched, and my trail cam caught it. At 1:58 in the morning, Milton's truck rolled forward 3 feet, headlights off. A shadowed figure slipped out of the driver's seat. Not Milton, smaller frame, quicker steps. Someone holding a phone low like they didn't want their face lit. I saved the file, twice. Then I sat there at the kitchen table with Lena, the glow of the laptop spilling across her face. We watched the clip 3 times. We didn't need 3, once was enough. But sometimes you sit with truth until the sting becomes a plan. Lena slid a legal pad across the table, 2 neat columns. One labeled what happened, the other what we can prove. Under proof, she wrote 4 words: date, plate, model, code. She circled code twice, then tapped the pen like she was marking a pulse. This wasn't just a crash anymore. It was something coordinated, something planned. The next morning, I pulled a trail cam off a barn nail and set it in the cottonwoods by the lane. Low, wide angle, a plate, a face, anything. I ran a skinny cable back to a recorder in the tack room and linked it to my phone. Then, just for good measure, I taped a reminder inside the lid of my mailbox. Title 18, Section 1705, Federal Property. Because bullies love noise, but paper always waits. That Saturday, I caught Ms. Patel at the county market table. She handles permits, fences, setbacks, answers questions with coffee in one hand, pen in the other. I slid her a drawing of my post. She looked once, marked it, stamped it, signed it. Breakaway core, county approved, no questions asked. Back home, the app buzzed. A dented pickup drifted lazy toward the ditch. The tire kissed my mailbox again. Wood jumped. Letters scattered. The truck rolled on like nothing happened. The plate filled my screen. The same scratch on the number 3. I didn't chase, I didn't shout. I saved the clip. I set the box back in place so the carrier could still work. That night, Lena and I sat at the table again. She had her scrubs on, hair still damp from the shower. We watched the video in silence, the glow painting her face pale. Then she slid her pad across to me. One line written neat and steady. Date, plate, model, code. 4 pillars, 4 truths they couldn't bend. The next day, I drove past Milton's truck in the grocery lot. The bumper notch still matched the split in my post like a signature. He caught me looking, smiled like a boy who just found a new rock to throw. Build better, he said. I didn't break stride. Drive better, I answered. That evening, I wrapped the split with bright tape so any new shift would show. Then I tucked the trail cam deeper in the leaves and set another across the road, low, pointed at the far shoulder to catch plates. One more line in my timeline, hit, fix, cam, hit again. No adjectives, just verbs and dates. By dusk, the quiet pressed in again. Headlights slowed at the gate, idling long enough to make the hair rise on my neck. Then, just like that, the engine cut. Darkness swallowed the road. But the cam didn't blink. The next morning, I had a clean clip and a clear choice. I could have emailed the sheriff right then. Could have sent the file straight to Alvarez at postal inspection. But I wanted something first. I wanted to put that plate down in front of Karen herself in the bright light of an HOA meeting and see what she did when the numbers filled the room. So I printed the still the size of a placemat, packed my binder, and took a front row seat at the next meeting. Karen opened with her usual smirk, scanning the room like she owned the air itself. When my turn came, I stood, calm, binder in hand. I played the clip. The plate filled the screen. The scratch on the number 3 lit up like a confession. I asked for something simple, notice to stop swerving into mailboxes. Karen leaned into the mic, lips curled. Hard to tell, she said. Then she moved on like my evidence was nothing but dust. That was her answer, a pat on the head, a closed door, a belief that I'd slink away beaten. But rooms don't decide truth, paper does. And paper has a memory longer than any bully ever plans for. Outside in the parking lot, Milton leaned against his truck, arms folded, that same grin playing on his lips. Better builders don't whine, he said. I looked him dead in the eye. Better drivers keep 2 hands on the wheel. At home, I called the county clerk. I want a site check. By morning, Ms. Patel was standing at my gate, clipboard steady. She measured setback, checked slope, noted the shoulder width. She tapped my plan with her pen. Breakaway core, she said. Then she signed and stamped another letter. Numbers over noise. That afternoon, I ordered a new locking model. USPS approved, stronger, safer. This time I added a hollow brick sleeve. On the outside, it looked like a normal ranch box, but beneath, a safe post, a dressed core, one that bent before it ever broke. I photographed every step, time-stamped and dated, proof stacked neat as bricks. And still I could feel it, the storm building, the noise waiting. Because Karen didn't like losing, Milton didn't like looking weak. And the night before their next move, headlights crept past my gate again. This time the cam caught the plate clear. It was Milton's truck, again. But the shape in the driver's seat. Not Milton. Everyone thought the fight was about a mailbox, but I knew better. The box was just a symbol. What they really wanted was control. By the time my new post was set, core approved, brick sleeve fitted, locking door ready, the HOA made their move. At 5 o'clock sharp, they taped a violation notice to my gate. Karen's handwriting was all over it. Emergency rule, it read. Wood post only, no masonry, effective immediately. It was laughable, really. A rule written at sunset aimed at one person after the fact, but bullies rarely care about timing. They count on fear, not law. Lena stood at my shoulder reading it. She didn't sigh, she didn't scowl, she just said 4 words, steady as always. County outranks their paper. She was right, county had stamped my post. Patel herself had signed it. Code was on my side, but Karen didn't deal in code, she dealt in noise. That night their live stream went out across the subdivision. Karen called my mailbox weaponized. She called it a danger, a wall disguised as a box. The comments poured in half fear, half laughter. Red slid in one short reply, numbers don't lie. But Karen wasn't finished. The HOA board rushed through a vote. She and the quiet man beside her raised their hands. 2-1. Emergency wood post only rule passed. When the draft minutes appeared online the next morning, something was wrong. They didn't match what had been said in the room. According to the posted minutes, the vote was 3-0. According to the minutes, notices were mailed before the crash. But my copy of the agenda said otherwise. My still frame said otherwise. And somewhere, someone inside that board knew it too. Because 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a quiet call. No name, just a voice. We did not mail anything. Watch for more changes. Click line dead. I printed everything, the posted minutes, the metadata. The 1:03 a.m. edit stamped right there in the corner. I slid them into the binder under a new tab, 1 word on the label, time. 2 days later, the deputy came to my porch with an envelope. His eyes carried that look, half sorry, half resigned. You've been served, he said. Civil complaint. Milton Craig, Karen Jerwig, Black Willow HOA. They called my brick sleeve a wall. They called my breakaway post a steel trap. They called Milton an officer. They even pasted a fake quote from an account I didn't own. Negligence, intentional harm, emotional distress, unauthorized structure in a public right-of-way. They wanted the court to strip my box, drain my wallet, and paint me the villain. I laid the complaint on the kitchen table. Lena set 2 mugs beside it. She drew a yellow pad and began her ritual, 1 dot for every lie. Then she looked at me, calm as a medic in an ER storm. "We'll answer every single one." "We called Patel first. They filed," I said. "They want it down." "Send me the case number," she replied. "I'll write the court a plain letter, model number, setback, base design, and if the judge wants a pull test, I'll bring a demo post and a scale. They'll see breakaway." Next, Alvarez, postal inspection. "We don't touch injury," he said, "but statute and sticker, yes, preserve originals, send me your file." And then we hired Hubert, small office, big ears, a lawyer who didn't waste breath. He flipped through the complaint, then looked up at me. "We're not going to argue adjectives," he said. "We're going to carry facts, 4 pillars, breakaway core, private land, federal statute, clean record." His binder grew fast. Tabs for timeline, permits, inspection cards, postal approval list. Trail cam stills, agenda drafts, the late-night edits circled in red. 1 sheet on top, 10 short lines, no adjectives, just dates and verbs. Facts. On hearing day, the courthouse smelled like lemon polish and old paper. Karen came sharp as a blade in storm gray suit. Milton wore a sling he didn't need anymore. I came in calm, clean shirt, binder under Hubert's arm. Karen's lawyer went first. "Weaponized wall disguised as a mailbox," he thundered. "My client, an officer of safety, was injured." The judge lifted a hand. "We'll need proof your client is law enforcement," he said. The lawyer's jaw tightened. He pivoted, tried heat again. Then Hubert stood. He didn't rush, didn't shout. He slid Patel's letter onto the bench, then the inspection cards, then Lena's note with the USPS call ID. "Breakaway core," he said. "Approved model, carrier confirms." He placed the thumb drive down last. The crash clip, the plate, the swerve. The courtroom air went still. The judge tapped Patel's inspection card once with his finger. He looked at the metadata printout with the 1:03 a.m. edit. His sigh carried the weight of years. "Emergency relief is extraordinary," he said. "Reserved for clear law and immediate harm. Motion denied. The mailbox stands." Karen blinked. Milton stared at his sling like it betrayed him. In the hallway, Hubert spoke plain. "Now we build the rest of the fence." And that was when this stopped being about a mailbox. Because when noise fails, bullies don't quit. They rent a bigger speaker. The night after the hearing, I knew they weren't finished. Because bullies never stop at no. By noon the next day, a flatbed rolled into my lane. 2 men in neon vests climbed down, carrying a jackhammer like it was a crown. The logo on their truck looked borrowed. Safe streets. The paint was still fresh. "HOA order," one said. "We'll peel that brick today, quick job." I stood behind the locked gate, calm, filming. "This is private land," I said. "You swing that hammer once and you're in trespass." The man smirked. "Karen says remove it." And right then, the sound of gravel shifting broke the air. Patel's county truck nosed into the lane. The sun caught the badge on her sleeve, bright as truth. The men froze. Their eyes bounced from my camera to her clipboard to the big word private on my gate sign. The ratchet they'd set on the sleeve clicked once, then in reverse. They packed up and left. A small win, but loud enough to hear. That night, Lena taped the clip into the binder under incidents. She didn't smile, she just said one word, pattern. And the pattern was getting darker. Because intimidation wasn't just at my gate. It crept into the feed store, too. Milton blocked my truck in the lot, his breath hot with coffee. He jabbed 2 fingers into my chest. Accidents happen to people, not just mailboxes. I didn't flinch. "Cameras see fingers, too," I said. He stepped back, but the threat hung in the air like smoke. 3 nights later, Elise, my neighbor, found her fence cut clean. Cattle wandered into the highway under the stars. Not broken wire, not wear. Cut. Same clean slices I found on my south pasture line 2 mornings later. No water in July heat. 20 head would have died if I hadn't checked at dawn. I took photos, same clean cuts. And I remembered Milton's words, accidents happen to people. No, accidents don't cut wire with a clean blade. This wasn't petty anymore. This was livelihood. I shared the evidence with neighbors, and one by one they began logging their own. Photos of ruts, fence damage, strange trucks idling near their driveways. I gave them Alvarez's card. Federal statute, preserve originals. Because this fight wasn't just mine anymore. It was bleeding into the whole road. Karen, meanwhile, doubled down. She pushed new blasts online, calling me a danger, a menace. She painted me as the man who harassed volunteers and weaponized the neighborhood. But online noise doesn't erase trail cams. One midnight, my far cam caught Milton's truck again. Only this time, the driver was Milton. The engine nudged forward 3 feet. A phone glowed low in the passenger's hand. And then a flash lit the cracked crescent sticker on the taillight, clear as daylight. Both figures bolted. I saved the clip twice, drove it to Hubert at dawn. He mirrored it, logged the hash, sealed the copies. Clean, he said. No leaks, no edits, this file will speak. Because that's what this war had become, their noise against my paper. Hubert filed motions to compel. Gate logs, patrol rosters, vendor receipts for the fake uniforms Milton's crew wore like costumes. The judge signed it. Warnings for sanctions landed in the margins. Karen's side scrambled. Late-night edits to minutes kept popping up, each one bending further from truth. One version said 3 votes. Another said hand-delivered notices. Another said the rule existed weeks before. But numbers don't blink. Metadata stamped 1:03 a.m. again and again. And then came the screenshot. The group chat from the night before the crash. Karen, meet near Bennett at 1:45. We need to check sightlines. Milton, I'll bring the truck. Another board member, log this. Karen, no paper. The quiet board member leaked it, hands shaking. I'm done, she typed. Hubert slid it into the binder under a new tab. One word, motive. That night I walked the fence with Red. He kicked a stone, watching it roll. You could have pulled the sleeve and walked away, he said. I nodded, I could have. Would have been easier. Yeah, but wrong lessons stick longer than right ones. He grinned, spitting dust, hard holds. We stood in silence, cottonwoods whispering above. Because this wasn't just about a mailbox anymore. It was about whether truth bends or holds. The deposition room was plain. A long table, stale water in plastic cups, air that tasted like paper. Hubert set our binder down like it weighed more than steel. He tapped the cover once. Slow, he whispered. Simple. Milton went first, no vest, no vinyl word police on his chest, just oath and chair. On the morning of the crash, Hubert began, voice steady. What lane did you hold? Center, Milton said. Hubert slid a photo across the table. Tire marks carved a smile right into the gravel, curving toward my post. Why does the track bend right? Milton blinked. The trees. Hubert clicked play on the clip. The wheel turned, the truck drifted. Did you turn your wheel right before impact? Hubert asked. Yes or no? Milton's jaw worked, his throat moved. Yes. Hubert didn't flinch. Are you a sworn officer? Silence, then no. Then why the vest? Why the word police on your truck? Milton lifted his chin, voice brittle but proud. Because people listen. The reporter's keys whispered those words into the record. Then came Karen, calm face, fast smile. Who edits the minutes? Hubert asked. I do, she said, as if it was nothing. Do you log changes? We post the best version. Hubert's eyes narrowed. Did you mail notices about a woodpost rule before the crash? Yes, she said smoothly, hand-delivered. Names, Hubert asked. She blinked, I don't recall. Hubert slid 2 pages forward, agenda draft, posted minutes. The second had a new line, notices mailed. The metadata showed 1:03 a.m. edit. This line appears only in the late file, Hubert said. Karen smiled, clerical clarity. He let the silence press until even the court reporter shifted in her chair. Then it was my turn. Hubert walked me through clean pages, Timeline, permit letters, inspection cards, postal approvals. Lena, steady as always, placed each exhibit on the table with a soft click, calling the number for the record. Chain of custody is live, she said, not for drama, for truth. By the end, the record sat heavy in front of everyone, solid, unbending. But Karen wasn't finished. That same week, two men in neon vests showed up again with a jackhammer and a rented logo. Here to help you meet the new rule, they said. Quick job. I didn't even bother opening the gate. Private land, I said. Your rule stops at this sign, step over and it's trespass. The man flipped a page, like paper could turn a fence into a sidewalk. We have authority, he tried. The ratchet clicked once on the sleeve. That sound carried like a gun cocked. Lena lifted her phone. Video rolling, she said. She spoke the timestamp out loud so the clip couldn't be bent later. The man called Karen on speaker. Her voice came thin, hot, impatient. Remove it. And just like before, Patel's county truck rolled into the lane. Clipboard in hand, badge on her sleeve, sun hitting the patch. The men froze. Their eyes flicked from the badge to my camera to the private sign. The ratchet clicked in reverse. They left again. That night, Hubert tightened the binder. We don't argue feelings, he said. We carry 3 straight lines, breakaway core, private land, federal statute. Each ends with a stamp. He slid a short list across the table. Witnesses, Patel for the pull test, Alvarez for statute, the print clerk if needed to explain the backdated flyers, and the quiet board member to authenticate the minutes. He looked at me. We won't oversell, we'll show. But the HOA tried one more move. A new version of the minutes appeared online at midnight. This one said the vote was unanimous, 3-0, weeks before the crash. This one said notices were hand-delivered to impacted owners. But the file properties still told the truth. 1:03 a.m. edit, same user, same time. Lena printed the raw file info, slid it into the binder under the tab time. Numbers don't blink, she said. By morning, the judge's order landed. Motion to compel granted. Gate logs due. Minutes in native format due. Patrol notes, vendor receipts, phone records all due. The clerk's stamp sat in the corner like a little flag on high ground. Hubert didn't smile. He squared the stack. Depositions resume Friday, 2 more yes or no rounds. He didn't need to explain. I already knew the questions. Did your fob ping the side gate at 1:56 a.m.? Did you call Milton at 1:58 a.m.? No speeches, no theater, just truth. Because this wasn't just about one mailbox anymore. It was about whether noise or paper would decide how this road was run. The morning of the hearing carried a strange weight. The courthouse smelled like lemon polish and old paper, the kind of scent that says rules live here longer than noise. Karen arrived first, storm gray suit pressed sharp as a knife. Milton followed, sling still strapped around his arm like a stage prop. Hubert walked in last, binder under one arm, nothing flashy, just facts wrapped in paper. The judge sat steady, eyes tired but sharp. We begin with the mailbox, he said. Patel took the stand first. No slides, no theatrics, just a short demo post and a pull scale. She clipped the scale, pulled, and the metal leaned with a soft creak and then stood back up. Listen, she said, the sound was clean, a tone you don't fake. That's breakaway, physics designed to bend, not break, the brick, hollow sleeve, cosmetic, impact force goes into the core, the base fails before the car flips, safe, compliant. Her words carried weight, no noise, just truth. The judge leaned closer, nodding once. Then Alvarez stepped up, Postal Inspection Service. Oath sit tablet open, his voice was precise, surgical. Federal property, criminal damage, sticker approved, plate match confirmed, referral made to our office. Few words, heavy weight. The courtroom air shifted. Hubert slid the late-night minutes onto the document camera. Draft agenda, posted minutes, the new line about notices mailed. Then he pointed not with words but with silence at the metadata corner. 1:03, edit. The judge sighed, everyone heard it. Then came the gate logs. 9 lines, cold plain, 2 mattered most. 01:56 a.m., Jerwig Side Gate, County Road 12. 01:58 a.m., Craig Main Entrance. Hubert laid the print shop ticket beside them. One margin note circled in red, make it look old. The judge tapped his pen. Foundation is laid, play the video. The lights dimmed. The midnight clip rolled. 2 figures at the end of my lane. One slid into Milton's driver's seat. The other held a phone low like a lantern in the dark. The truck nudged forward 3 feet. A flash caught the plate and the cracked crescent sticker on the tail light. Both figures ran. Hubert froze the frame. Profile not Milton's, shorter, different stance. And there, brushing the shin, a robe hem. He clicked once to Karen's own livestream from the next morning. Same robe, same house shoes. He didn't raise his voice. The court may apply common sense. The HOA's lawyer jumped up. Character smear. The judge's reply was flat. Goes to credibility, goes to motive. Then the group chat slid under the camera. Karen's words in sharp font, meet near Bennett's at 1:45. I'll bring the truck, no paper. The silence in that room was heavier than any speech. The quiet board member stepped up next. She didn't grandstand, she breathed, she answered. Who edits the minutes? Hubert asked. Karen. Were notices mailed before the crash? No. Did the board vote 3-0? No, 2 hands raised, 1 against. The record was changed later. Her voice trembled once, then steadied. Were you told to align the record? Yes. By whom? Her eyes lifted. Karen. The words dropped into the room like stones into still water. Milton took the stand next. His jaw was tight, eyes darting like a man cornered. Are you a sworn officer? Hubert asked. No. Then why wear a vest marked police? So people listen, Milton said, voice sharp with pride. On the morning of the crash, did you turn your wheel toward the mailbox? He hesitated, jaw clenched. Yes. Did you see the mailbox? Yes. Did you aim at it? No. The judge looked down at the photo of his tire arc. A clean curve toward my post. He didn't need to say anything. The silence said enough. Finally, Karen took the chair. Did you move Mr. Craig's truck the night before the crash? Hubert asked. No. Did your fob ping the side gate at 1:56 a.m.? I do not recall. Did you call Mr. Craig at 1:58 a.m.? That is board business, she said quickly. Hubert didn't argue. He simply laid the gate log on the screen again. 01:56 a.m., Jerwig. 01:58 a.m., Craig. Then he slid the phone bill beside it, time circled in red. He rested his finger on the line, said nothing. The silence in that courtroom grew heavy, pressing down until even Karen shifted in her seat. Her lawyer tried one last swing. This all hinges on a brick wall in disguise, he said. It looks like a weapon and acts like one. The judge looked down at Patel's letter, Alvarez's report, the postal approval list, the raw minutes with the late edit, the gate log, the midnight clip, the robe hem, the crescent sticker. His words came slow like stone. Physics does not care about bylaws, timestamps do not care about spin, the record here is clear. And in that moment I knew their noise was breaking. The judge's gavel tapped once, not loud, final. The court finds the Bennett mailbox complies with county code, he said, voice steady as a stone wall. The brick cover is non-structural, the core is breakaway, emergency relief was properly denied and remains denied. Karen blinked, Milton's jaw tightened. The plaintiff's claims of negligence and entrapment are dismissed with prejudice, the judge continued. He turned the page, eyes sharp. Further, this court finds credible evidence that HOA minutes were altered after the fact to support a rule not in effect at the relevant time. Sanctions are appropriate. Targeted mailbox rules are hereby enjoined. The association will pay reasonable fees and costs, and restitution is ordered for prior damage to the Bennett mailbox, 2 replacements at cost plus interest. His gaze cut sharper. As to impersonation of law enforcement and the movement of Mr. Craig's vehicle the night before impact, this court transmits the record to the Sheriff's Office and the United States Postal Inspection Service. Charging decisions lie with those offices. One line after another fell like bricks into place. When he was finished, he tapped the gavel once more. Final. The room breathed again. Karen's face had gone flat. Milton stared at his sling like it had betrayed him. Hubert closed the binder without a smile, just one small nod that meant done right. In the hallway, Red was waiting, hat in both hands. Amen, he said, not like church, like fence posts set straight. We stepped into the sun. The air felt wider. At home, Lena pinned the sanction notice to the fridge right beside her chili recipe. Above it, I taped one single sheet, the 10-line timeline that had carried us this far. Not a trophy, a reminder. Because bullies don't believe paper can beat them, until it does. But the story wasn't over. Not yet. Phones lit up across the subdivision that night. The HOA called a special meeting. Room open. Minutes to be posted in native format with visible change logs. And the agenda had one item: vacancy, board seat. Karen stood at the elevator after court, phone clutched in her hand. This is not over, she hissed. In this room it is, I said. The rest belongs to the people you tried to scare with vinyl letters. The doors slid shut on her face. Back at the ranch, Red leaned against the fence, watching the brick sleeve cast its square shadow. Looks simple, he said. Simple is hard, I answered. He nodded, hard holds. And it did, because the very next week, change rolled down our road faster than any truck. Elise's new fence went up. 6 neighbors helped stretch the last wire. She handed me an envelope when it was done. Inside, 5 homeowners had signed a petition to recall the board. This mailbox thing woke people up, she said. Nobody's scared anymore. The sheriff called next. We're handling impersonation, the sergeant said. No swagger, just work. Alvarez followed. Our file is with the U.S. attorney now, he told me, short words, heavy weight. Then 2 envelopes landed in my own mailbox, the one that still stood tall. One from the HOA, paying my fees and costs. Another from Milton, restitution for the earlier hits, interest included. Both went straight into the binder, behind Patel's letters and the inspection cards. Paper in order, noise outside. At the special meeting, the room filled fast. Karen tried a smile, but it broke before it reached her eyes. The vote to remove her passed by a landslide. Milton laid his vest on the table and walked out without a word. 2 new board members were sworn in. The quiet one stayed, one resigned on the spot, and in their place the room wrote something stronger than bylaws. No private patrols, no fake badges, no rule aimed at one person. Minutes must be posted in native format, with change logs visible. Every edit tied to a name. Small, clear, strong. And for the first time in months, the subdivision felt like it belonged to the people again. Still, noise doesn't die easy. Karen posted one last rant online that night, calling me dangerous, paranoid, a bully myself, but her words fell flat. Because this road had seen the robe, the late-night fobs, the crescent tail light, the minutes bent at 1:03 a.m. And they knew now what I'd known all along. Paper beats noise every time. A week after the vote, the road felt different. Not louder, quieter. Because quiet isn't what bullies give you when they're finished. Quiet is what happens when truth finally gets its turn to stand. The sheriff sent a short note, impersonation review open. Alvarez sent a shorter one, file in federal hands. Small words, but heavy. Milton passed me at the feed store. No chest tap this time, no grin. He kept 3 careful feet between us, eyes down. I hadn't set out to make a man afraid. All I'd wanted was for my mail to arrive safe, but some lessons have to sink deep before they take root. Neighbors drifted by the fence with small offerings. Elise brought cookies and her USPS receipt. Another brought photos of fresh ruts and case numbers. No speeches, just quiet proof. One by one, they stacked their truths next to mine. The new board posted its first set of minutes. Native file, changelog visible. No edits at 1:03 a.m., no hidden lines. Just plain words that matched the room. For the first time in months, people leaned back in their chairs and believed what they read. 3 other subdivisions even requested our new bylaws as a template. The county office followed suit, requiring HOAs to post minutes in native format, edits visible to everyone. Patel showed me the memo. She smiled. "All from one mailbox," she said. One mailbox that bent but didn't break. At home, I turned 2 of the cameras away from the road toward the pasture. Calves were due. That beat headlights any day. My daughter walked past the fridge, her drawing still pinned there. The mailbox she'd sketched in crayon stood tall, little red flag waving. Beside it, she'd drawn herself, arms wide. "This is me guarding it," she'd said. I looked at her picture longer than I meant to, because she was right. Children absorb everything, even the battles we think they don't see, especially those. If I'd caved, if I'd pulled the brick sleeve just to buy peace, what lesson would I have left her? That noise wins, that paper bends, that fake badges matter more than real law. No, she needed to see better. We all did. One evening, Red stopped by with a coil of wire. We leaned against the fence, watching cars give the ditch respectful space now. The gravel arcs were clean. "Looks simple," he said. "Simple is hard," I told him. He nodded, spitting dust. "Hard holds." And that was it. No speeches, no applause. Just 2 men leaning on a fence, watching a road straighten out again. The mailbox didn't care about courtrooms or bylaws or 1:03 a.m. edits. It stood waiting for letters, doing the job it was built to do. And maybe that was the point all along. Not trophies, not victories shouted in meetings. Just a post set true with a core that bends and returns, a record that doesn't move when someone pushes in the dark. That's quiet, not bought, not begged, earned. So when neighbors filed their recall petition, when Karen stepped down under a roomful of plain voices, when Milton peeled the vinyl word police off his truck 2 days later, it wasn't my win. It was theirs. The road had chosen. No private patrols, no fake cops, no rules written at sunset aimed at one man. And it felt right. Because sometimes the strongest posts aren't the ones that never bend. They're the ones that bend, then stand back up again, flag raised, unbroken. Just like that mailbox. Just like this road. You've heard this confession, now wait until you hear the next one.